And now back to your regular programming.
If you speak better to yourself.
You showed up for probably the dumbest conversation we've ever had on this show.
Let's have that smile again.
Tell me how that happens. Physically should not happen.
Relax.
If you say
Give me as well.
3 times a day, God will line it up.
He's just an absolute hack, and he gets his ass kicked by the teammates every week. It's just terrible.
Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson, 2 former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. And on today's show, we're sharing our best bets for the NFL and college football this weekend, as well as our favorite trade deadline moves that happened this past Wednesday. Certainly the only important thing on Wednesday. All that coming up and more. Sean, if listeners want to bet along with us, where can they do it?
Yeah, we're getting all our lines
Tuesday.
at
Tuesday.
Bet Online.
Trade deadline was on Tuesday.
All of our lines
year it is
coming from Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform.
1985, I believe.
Why are you yelling over the read?
I don't. You can just do the read. Let me get my thoughts out.
Okay, I like that. Bet Online, number one source for online betting, from the easiest odds to in-game live betting. Bet Online provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen with the largest selection of odds from everything football, NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, MMA. No more political props anymore. We're talking betting on this show. You want to talk to politics? DM Joe at Joe DeLeone on Twitter.
Please don't.
Give him all of your thoughts.
No.
We know there was
none of that.
Some big
None
news.
None of that.
But we are talking betting. That's what this podcast is for. Personal life, political gripes, those go to him. Head to Bet Online today. Get in on the action with America's most trusted site.
Hold on. If you have gripes or thoughts, send them to the Hackbag hotline, 201-834-4308, not to my personal DMs, or we will read them on the Hackbag if you send them to me.
Got a lot of voters in the swing states, or a lot of listeners in the swing states.
Do we?
I think so.
I don't think we do.
Oh, have you looked at the demographics? Regardless, Bet Online, the game starts here. Head there for your bets. Whatever.
Right,
reads out of control.
It's always out of control. That usually means we're going to have a good show. All right, Sean, the trade deadline happened. You were telling me that you didn't think it was a super exciting trade deadline, but I disagree. I thought that this trade deadline had some pretty powerful moves. Now, I left the most obvious best move. We're each going to share one here to you. What was the most important one in your eyes?
That's Marshawn Lattimore going to the Commanders. It really is. 3rd and a 4th doesn't matter for the Commanders right now. I know you want to keep building. I know those are decently high picks. The Commanders had one good draft in the last 5 years, this past draft. So they don't have all the goodwill there for me with the one in the hand, two in the bush type situation. And Marshawn Lattimore, I've gotten to watch him so much as I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan, have to track the Saints, have to track him. He is a true cornerback one, which this team needed. They had Benjamin St. Juste, who was a very good cornerback too, and they took a shot on Emmanuel Forbes Jr., who hasn't panned out in the NFL. He's been a little light of frame. His coverage has been shoddy, and then they've had to make up with it with very good cornerback play in the nickel from Mike Sanderstill, who was a very good pick that they picked up. That was stellar, but let's really shore up the defensive backfield. We are 7-2. That is massive. We want to contend. We want to contend now.
Hold on. Huh? You're throwing around we.
I didn't mean from the
loosely. You're not a Commanders fan. Now you're a Commanders fan?
No, that was from like the royal we, as in I'm taking it from the perspective of the Commanders.
You were using it. I knew you were using it that way originally, and then it kind of started to
get on me for that.
There,
they
starting offensive lineman for the Commanders, Sean Anderson.
They are 7-2. And I like that they are buying in. When you have momentum, why not try to cash in on it? It's so hard to get that in the NFL. It's so hard to string a bunch of wins together in the NFL. And if you think you're going to make a real playoff run, what could adding a real top-tier cornerback like Marshawn Lattimore hurt? It is a professional move by a historically over the last 2 decades unprofessional franchise to make a big play at the trade deadline. It's better than the Josh Norman move. It's 1,000 times better than the Albert Haynesworth move. Everything that they've done previously, we're going to bring these guys in. It hasn't worked. Now you have Dan Quinn, defensive genius, ex-guru, that can really manipulate a defense if he has the talent and he has the players. We've seen what he does in Dallas. We saw how bad Dallas has been on defense without him. This Washington Commanders defense isn't that good. They're not. You know how I know that, Joe? They're starting Dante Fowler Jr. at times, okay? It's not a great defense, but he gets them in the best position that they need to be on every single defensive drive. Do they give up touchdowns? Sure. Did they almost lose to the Bears? Sure. But they make it by, and they're continually adding talent. I like it. I like what they're doing. It's the biggest move by far of the trade deadline.
Yeah, a lot of people have compared the Commanders' success to that of the Texans, and I think that that's a realistic trajectory for what the Commanders are going to do this year. Go to the playoffs, win a playoff game, probably not make it much further than that. But what is going to help this team accomplish their goals and compete with the Eagles to win the NFC East is going to be having a more shored up roster. Right now, their biggest weakness, their most glaring problem was a defensive back. Emmanuel Forbes did not work out. Bad pick. He has not panned out. Undersized corner who has no physicality and can't tackle. I'm shocked. Has not worked in the NFL. He's not going to start. He can contribute in a different role. He should probably be traded in the future. But to get Lattimore for a third and a fourth is a great deal to bring him in. I don't know if he stays here long term. We'll have to see what ends up panning out with Lattimore's situation with the Commanders. But if you want to contend and you want to reach the playoffs, not sputter out after this amazing 7-2 start, and you want to actually get to your goal of reaching the playoffs, you need to add a big-time player like Marshawn Lattimore. My trade that I think is worth bringing up here is Zadarius Smith ending up with the Lions, who was traded over from the Cleveland Browns, Sean. They were in such a need of a boost to their pass rush. They have been playing great football. The Lions have been super stout on both lines of scrimmage, but losing Aiden Hutchinson opened up this massive question that we were asking ourselves. What are they going to do to at least bring some sort of a presence to their pass rush? So Darius Smith brings at least a veteran that has been around on winning football teams to step up to the plate to contribute to some extent. He is not going to match the production of Aiden Hutchinson. Maybe he does. I don't think it's going to happen where he is at this point in his career. But when you were down that bad of losing your most important defensive player, bringing in something is better than nothing. And this could be a really underrated move to help them go from being great to still having confirmed control over winning the NFC North.
Yeah, Smith has 5 sacks on the year, and it's no joke that the Lions' defensive line needed help. Last week, they had 8 defensive linemen injured. This week, they have 6, including, obviously, Aiden Hutchinson, David Bada, Marcus Davenport, Kyle Pecco, John Kaminsky, Broderick Martin. You can't have like more than 12 defensive linemen on a team. And if you got 8 of them hurt last year, Josh Pascal last week was hurt, was out with illness. They were starting practice squad players in the defensive line. They needed to bolster it. And this Lions team took great steps this year on improving their defense. Last year, we saw a very fun, flashy offense, but the defense in the second half consistently giving up leads, consistently getting in shootouts because they couldn't hang and they got gassed. This year, different story. The Lions defense has improved. They have matured. They're actually putting clamps on teams when they get a lead, but it's so hard to do that if the big guys up front don't have the legs and they don't have the energy to stick it out for 4 full quarters. So getting anybody's in that room was a plus, I would say. But to get a quality veteran impact starter like Smith, it's huge. It's what good teams do at the trade deadline. They were buyers. I am so jealous of seeing teams that can be buyers instead of sellers, as my team has been historically sellers over the last 4 years. Your team has been sellers over the last 20 years.
So wait, I want to bring that up. This year, I think 2 teams stand out to me that should have been sellers. Like good franchises that are trying to improve that did not take advantage of this opportunity to move on for pieces that probably were not going to come back in the upcoming offseason. Those 2 teams are in the same division and have been playing horrid football. The New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys, 2 completely different reasons. It was speculated that the Giants could move on from Darius Slayton because teams that need receivers, there's not many good options. Go get Darius Slayton. He's a great third receiver on most teams, and maybe with a competent quarterback, could be a little bit more productive than what we've seen him do with Daniel Jones throwing him the football. And then Azeez Ojulari was also projected, who's been this additional pass rusher whose role has not exactly been the same since they brought in Brian Burns. He is a redundant player to have in the lineup, so it makes sense to move him. None of that happened. Dallas Cowboys, they didn't do S. I don't know who they necessarily would have gone to try and move. We went crazy and said, hey, get rid of Micah Parsons and see what you could bring in. Probably wasn't going to happen. But when you're this bad, and for the Cowboys to actually be finally in a position to sell and to accumulate picks in order to get better for next year, them doing nothing is problematic, and it continues to play into this narrative that we've brought up with the Cowboys that they're just not doing the things necessary to build a good football team.
Oh, Joe, I'm glad you brought up Dallas because they didn't do nothing. As we noted on the Sunday show, Dallas should be selling to accumulate picks, but instead they gave away a pick for Jonathan Mingo to help bolster their receiving core. They gave away a 4th-round pick for Jonathan
unproductive
Mingo,
second-year receiver. And also, why are the Panthers getting rid of Jonathan Mingo?
The Panthers are understanding the rebuild. They said we want 10 picks next draft,
but
I guess.
But Mingo's not that old, and you also are losing value on that pick, are you not? Wasn't Mingo...
Mingo was a 2nd-round pick.
So then you lost value on that. Why would you do that?
They're 2 inept franchises.
That for a hot second here. That is just 2 idiots. It's like when you're at the bar and your buddies, like they're out mingling, and 2 friends are talking to a group of girls, another couple of friends are talking to a group of girls. They're like, everybody's making things happen. Moves are being made.
Yeah.
And then you pan and go, where are the 2 other idiots that we came to the bar with? And they're just sitting there, passing back and forth the vape. That's all. That's
normally you
going
and me
on.
Sit at the table, just sitting there watching college football on your iPhone. That's how it goes. I don't know who I'd rather be, Dallas or Carolina right now. Genuinely, I don't know what the future is for Dallas. They're not going to be a contender next year. It's
so stupid.
So stupid to get rid of a draft pick right now for a play. Are you trying to save your season?
It's over. Wait, hold on. Here's the circle here, though. It's really stupid to get rid of a draft pick for a guy that really doesn't elevate your receiving room with an injured quarterback. You're not going to go on a Super Bowl. That doesn't put you in a position to win a Super Bowl when you need that pick. And then the other flip side of this is, why are you a team with no receivers who already got rid of Deontay Johnson, getting rid of another receiver, just completely mailing it in and losing value on what you originally spent the pick on? He must be an a-hole or something.
I think it's Jalen Coker season, and the Cokeheads are coming out big time.
Is that what people are saying?
Are
people calling themselves the Cokeheads?
Yeah,
they made that a thing.
No. Reporters were at Jalen Coker's locker asking, "Hey, fans of yours are calling themselves Cokeheads. Do you have a comment?" He said,
my God.
Nah, I appreciate the support, but yeah, I don't have much to say on that.
Well, if Jalen Coker has a blow up, I spotted him when he was at Holy Cross, and I recommended him for RPM. So I'm going to pat myself on the back there.
Good for you. I picked him up in my fantasy league, getting ited on 3 and 5.
That's loser behavior. That's a loser behavior. We're making a turnaround on my team, man. I've won 2 in a row. All right, we're surging. Some idiot dropped Justin Herbert in my league.
I keep on sitting Justin Herbert for CJ Stroud and keep on losing for some reason. Cock Michaels Esquire it has given up an additional 100 points to everybody else in the league. I've given up 1,350 points. The next highest is 1,200.
Did I show you what my team name is?
No, I haven't.
I'm not going to. It's not anything offensive, but it's.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That was when I started 0-3. It's very self-deprecating and basically along the lines that I hate myself. All right, let's get the best bets here, Sean. College football, I had another crap week. We're going to bounce back. We're going to bounce back eventually. Shut your mouth. You're not allowed to talk for the next few seconds. I went 1-2, 18-18 on the year. We're still at 50%. We've still climbed out of the hole. We're going to finish the year at 60%. I'm feeling it. We're going to have a strong finish. Sean pulled one out of his ass. Put your freaking hands down. Pulled one out, 3-0, 20-16, 55%, blah, blah, blah. My first pick.
Whoa, that's crazy.
My first pick, LSU +3 at home versus Alabama. Here's my reasoning. How are you going to bet against LSU at home as an underdog at night against a first-year head coach where they've had problems with penalties? They've had problems with turnovers. They've had problems with playing full games and having really rough stretches in some of their performances. I don't trust this Alabama team. Kalen DeBoer could get them in 2 years when they go to Death Valley. This is not the year. I'm not going to be stupid. I'm stunned that LSU is not favored. take a money line. If you want to make some money, it's probably not crazy plus odds. Take LSU money line. There's your free pick.
It's a fair shout, but you're telling people to put their money on Nussie, and that makes me worried.
I don't like the way that you said Nussie, and you said it like as you probably would, but
I just
it just
don't
sounds
know.
very dirty.
I gotcha. Garrett Nussmeier has made things happen this season. I think the worm is turning for me, where I am starting to flip around and actually be impressed by the way that he wins football games for them, because he pulls the rabbit out of the hat. And I guess if he does that against Alabama, I'll be a true believer, and then he will be a first-round quarterback. Excited to see that. My first pick coming off of a 3-0 week, 3-0 perfect,
All right.
20-16 on the
Read
season.
your pick. Read your
perfect
pick.
3-0. Going to go perfect 3-0 again.
You only get one of these a year.
Georgia giving 2.5 to Ole Miss. Me and Joe have both given our fair criticisms to Ole Miss. We've both explained sick and tired of that old story. I am sick and tired of seeing Lane Kiffin.
Iowa State. You definitely were listening to my VSiN segment yesterday.
I was asleep. You do the segment at 11:30. I got to wake up at 5. You think I'm sitting here stalking your picks? You went 2-3 last week. 1-2 on our show bets. I'm not listening to you. Regardless, Ole Miss, like this play, Georgia may be winning ugly, but they're still winning. They're still an A-grade team. Ole Miss, at best this year, is a B-plus grade team for me. And Ole Miss's best offensive player, Trey Harris, expected to be doubtful ahead of this game. I don't think he would have done a ton against the Georgia secondary, but it doesn't hurt if you're taking the spread to know that their biggest and best wide receiver may not be playing. I would suggest you track that ahead of the game, but doubtful on Wednesday, looking like doubtful, in my opinion. So I like Georgia 2.5. Ole Miss frauds, fraud soup. Love it. Going to eat them up. It's going to be a big win for the Dogs.
My second pick, Sean, that I have is Colorado -3.5 at Texas Tech. Texas Tech statistically is one of the worst defenses in the country at stopping the run, at stopping the pass. They're a mess. Recency bias is playing into this significantly. They played a great game against Iowa State. Taj Brooks went off, but I am not buying it. Colorado's offense is going to be way too much for this Texas Tech defense to keep up with. Could this be close for a spurt? Sure, maybe a little bit. No way in hell that Colorado doesn't win this thing by 7, or likely a lot more than that. Give me the Buffs -3.5.
I like it. Buffs making noise late in the season. Gonna be a fun one. My second pick, the big spread merchant, is back and in full force. I'm all in on this game. I'm all in on Oregon giving 25 points against Maryland. Oh, Sean, that's a big spread. Listen to this, folks. That's 5 touchdowns and 2 field goals. That's all that Oregon needs. Why is that all that Oregon needs? Because as good as their offense has been, the defense for Oregon has been their unsung hero. They're 10th in the nation in scoring defense through 10 weeks. That's big for them. They're only giving up 15.8 points per game. So if they have an average defensive performance on the season for scoring defense against Maryland, who has at best an average offense, all they need is 5 touchdowns and 2 field goals to cover. It's simple, easy math. It's a good team versus a tragic team. It is Oregon continuing to thrive in the Big Ten. Go shove it down Maryland's throats. They had years to get better. They haven't. They don't recruit the DMV well. And Oregon is a better team. Oregon 25. Loving it.
What's your third one? Because I'm scrambling here to get my third pick.
I'll go back to back for them. Oh, I should go back to back. I should just get 6 picks this week after last week. Goodness gracious. Iowa State given 3 against Kansas. Kansas, underwhelming this year. That's fair to say, right, Joe? People had higher expectations for Leipold. They had higher expectations for that offense. But they suck, and they suck also against the spread. They're 2-6 on the season against the spread. They've been huge disappointments. Did Iowa State lay an egg last week? Yeah, they did. It wasn't great. But there's still 2 games over 500 against the spread. They still have stuff to play for. They're definitely a better team. And it's only 3 points. It's child's play. Iowa State giving 3 against Kansas. Disrespectful line through and through.
I don't believe that you were sleeping last night. I refuse to. These are two of my. If you go 2-1, okay, this is what pisses me off the most about this. I have to root for these to be correct.
Yeah.
You have to go 2-1. Don't lie to me. I know that you're listening. You get your ear up against the door.
No, I was not listening. Ear up against the door. I was playing Mario Kart.
Oh, so you were awake
at 11 o'clock. I was playing Mario Kart at 11 o'clock. I'm here.
So you were listening.
I'm here. Check.
I gotta make sure.
And then I gotta go to bed because I can't take it. Give me a break.
My last pick, MTSU plus 10.5 against Liberty. I didn't know this. Liberty's actually been tragically bad against the spread this year. They're 1-6. They are failing to cover by an average of 13.4. Sorry. I really think that MTSU, who's been not a very good football team, but Liberty has been underwhelming, that all I need them to cover is 10.5. It is certainly in play. I'm not saying money line. Just give me them to cover.
This is a man in desperation. This is a man scrambling right now, folks. It's probably going to hit because he didn't really put his mind to it. I like the pick.
Screw you. NFL best bets. What did you go last week? Yours are not written down here. You went 12-1 last week.
2-1.
Nice.
2-1.
Yeah, you're trying to. Yeah, you're trying to pull a fast one. You piece of garbage.
2-1.
1-2 for me last week. 19-8, 70% correct. Sean still has miles to go to catch up to me. 2-1. I don't want to hear 2-1 on the week last week. 50%, 13-1. Finally had a positive week. My first pick for this week for the NFL. Give me the Saints plus 3.5 versus the Falcons. This is an unquantifiable trend that I love to lean on. And I'm so glad that you fell for this trap, man. And I need you to give this as your pick next. This is going to be your first pick. Always bet in favor of a team when a starting quarterback is benched and when a head coach is fired. It is unquantifiable. It is inexplicable, but for whatever reason, this always happens. It's not a 100% hit rate, but there tends to be this trend where you look up at Red Zone and Scott Hansen goes, "Oh, the Saints are up by 14 on the Falcons right now." And you're wondering to yourself, how did that happen? It's because the team is suddenly motivated because they're all playing for their jobs now. That first game back, everybody is juiced up and ready to go. The most recent example, do we remember a certain pick that I believe that you had for the Raiders to cover against the Panthers when Andy Dalton stepped in to start over Bryce Young? The Panthers won that football game. Give me the Saints plus 3.5.
I guess the line changed on BetOnline to 3.5. When I put in my bet, it was initially 4.
I'll take 4.
I like 3.5. I don't want to have some crazy Atlanta Saints push. I'm going Falcons 3.5. I like it. I'm actually not going to do the bad fan bit this week. Screw the Saints. Atlanta's got a better quarterback. They have a better offensive line. Running backs are better. Defense is better. I'm not falling for the trap.
Oh, the fan-motivated pick.
I know how
I'm so
nasty.
happy the Saints fired their coach. It's all you talked about last episode. You're falling for the trap.
I know how nasty this line is. And this game is going to be decided on the first Falcons drive. Let me explain to you.
I can't believe you're betting on your own team, but continue.
Let me explain to you, all right? Atlanta's not going to score a touchdown on their first drive. It's going to come down to a Younghoe Koo field goal, all right? If he makes that field goal, the Falcons are going to cover. If he misses that first field goal, the Falcons are going to lose. They're just going to straight up lose the game, forget the cover. It's going to be one of those. So this game will be determined by the first Falcons drive. Saints aren't scoring on their first drive. But Atlanta's first drive, they will score, and it will be a field goal. And we're just going to have to come down to it. Because if Younghoe starts the game off hot with a make, Falcons win and cover. It's the trend. It's the play. If he goes down and misses, we're going to see a game like Seattle where they shit their pants and they don't have a good one. And it's just tragic. But I'm in on my team this week. I'm making a ballsy play. I'm betting on them. I am riding with Kirk, swag surfing in Hoboken.
Man, you just make it too easy to fade you. Oh, this is just chef's kiss. All right, Vikings -4 versus the Jaguars. The Jaguars have been a tragic mess. And I know that the Vikings over the past couple of weeks, they're not exactly winning in the same dominant fashion that we saw at the start of the season, but there is a pretty significant separation gap between these two squads. I'm actually surprised that this line is so close and that it's not wider like my next pick is. Vikings, give it to me here. I don't trust this Jaguars team that has been just so inconsistent. Actually, they've been consistently bad. Let's be honest.
That's crazy disrespectful. The Jaguars are awful. The Jaguars also field one of the worst uniforms in football with the white jersey, black helmet, black pants.
Did you see the white helmets they're rocking this week? Those are pretty clean.
Just go back to the straight up teal with the big Jaguar on the side, because right now with their jerseys, I don't know what team is on the field. It looks like Oregon's white uniforms. It does not look like the Jaguars. They got no identity. They suck. The Vikings are still a winning team. That's a fine pick, Joseph. My next pick, Bills given 4 versus the Colts. Let's just make it easy on ourselves this week, folks. Bills are a good team. Colts are starting Joe Flacco. At best, Joe Flacco has this game tight in the third quarter. But then the Bills are going to do what the Bills do, run it down their throat. Was it a little bit sloppy against Miami last week? Sure. But Miami was throwing some different tricks at him with Tua coming back and McGenius, as he was named by Rex Ryan on Sunday NFL Countdown.
How creative.
She kind of liked it. I know that he would have, if he was still coaching the Jets, he would have been saying McGenius all week to his team. That is a bit that he believes in. The Bills are a good team. Josh Allen is a legitimate MVP candidate. The Colts are sitting at 500, just trying to tread water and be one of the 7th seed in the AFC, just to get victimized in the wild card round. Bills by 4.
I have had a lot of success betting against the Titans. The Titans are terrible, god-awful, one of the worst teams in the NFL. Mason Rudolph, sure, he helped them win a game against the Patriots. I also do believe that this Chargers team, not like they're going to ascend into a top playoff team, but they're playing really good, just consistent, steady football. They're losing to the top teams, but they're heads above a program, or a franchise rather, like the Titans, that just have no juice, no energy. I think they run all over them. Justin Herbert, big game. The run game takes over. Give me the Chargers -7.5.
The Chargers are in a perfect position. They're just quietly winning games. They're quietly in the hunt. And then when they start ripping them off, they get some momentum, and they're just going to start running the ball down teams' throats. It's fine. 7.5 is just,
I know it's a big one. It's a big spread.
They just don't. The Chargers just don't score enough. You know what? Maybe I'm tripping. They put it on Cleveland last week. Eggs -7 versus the Cowboys. It feels insidious. Some hacks on radio would say this is like kissing your cousin. It just is nasty and it does nothing for you. So that's what it feels like betting on the Eagles. But the Cowboys are such a disaster. The Eagles are rolling. They had the best play in arguably NFL history that took place last week with Saquon Barkley's reverse hurdle. He won't do that again. Nick Sirianni is a clown show goofball that I like to hate, but they are winning games, and they can run the ball, and they do have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, who are making big plays for the team. So as much as I hate to say it, they're kind of sneaky rolling, and the Cowboys are a disaster that will be starting Cooper Rush this week. That's right. Everybody, the Cooper Rush fans, it's going to, you know what? Maybe this is one of these Cooper Rush games where he throws for 3 touchdowns and dots them up, and then the Cowboys are really in disarray. But I don't think that happens. Eagles given 7. Love the play. Easy play. Simple play.
They should just put Trey Lance in and run the read option the entire game. And there was a quote that Trey Lance said he would love the opportunity to play, which is kind of odd to hear. It's a very weird thing to hear. I'd love to get in, maybe.
Yeah.
If they were willing to give me a shot, maybe.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Give me a snap.
Come on,
coach.
I'll take a drive. You're giving them out.
Yeah. Put them in a receiver. They could certainly use him somewhere. All right, that's going to be it from us, folks, at Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio. We've got the Hack Bag coming back on Thursday, 201-834-4308. Call in. Let us know what you're thinking about anything. Call us from the toilet if you really want to. Anywhere in the world. Sean wants to listen to that. We won't play it on the show, but Sean will have to listen to it and vet it if you do call us from the bathroom.
That's going to be a transcription unavailable, and I still have to listen to those.
Wait, are there? Oh, there's
some come transcribed,
Okay.
and they're long Doctor Who questions, and some is unavailable.
A whole bunch
and
of they're not slurring, but like slurred words.
Ron's slurring. Yeah, Ron's slurring, yelling about the Bobcats.
Did he call in?
Not yet. I'm sure he will. I need him to. It's a big week.
All right, we'll be back, folks. We'll talk to you later.